Hi, honeys. It's Michelle. Before I get started, I just wanted to say thank you so much. I'm so excited. I am officially at 500 subscribers. I can't believe it. 500 subscribers. So I'm really excited, and I think I might be doing some sort of a giveaway when I hit 1,000. And then I would also maybe like to do a live video or something to celebrate. So that'll be exciting. Okay, so today's video, I came across this book tag, and I'm not sure where it originated from, so I'm sorry if you happened to stumble across this and it was your tag, but it's a bunch of questions about books, and I thought it was so fun. I wanted to go ahead and partake in the tag, and I will put the information down below on the tag just in case it's something that you want to do too if you're a YouTuber and you are a bookwormer, a bookworm as well. So I'm just going to get started. Okay. Number one, hardback or paperback? Paperback every time. I like being able to do this, you know, or even do this. I'm naughty that way. I do. I like to fold. So definitely paperback. By the way, I am drinking coffee, and yes, it's out of a Christmas mug. Is it Christmas? No, but it's my favorite mug. My husband got me this as one of my Christmas gifts, I want to say about 5 years ago, and it's still my favorite mug because I just love Snoopy. Okay. Dust jacket off or on? Definitely off. I like to keep my dust jackets in pristine condition. And if I carry them around with me on a book when I'm reading them, they tend to get just all gross. So I personally don't like to leave them on when I'm reading a hardback book. Secondhand or new copies? I mean, I read both. I'm definitely not opposed to reading either one. I probably prefer new books though because I like the new book smell. Audiobooks or no? I'm not an audiobook person. I tried to do, I'm going to age myself here. I tried to do a book on tape years ago, and I did not like it. I have a brain that runs a mile a minute and is all over the place. And if I'm listening to a book, I just can't do that. I start wandering off and, I look over and, all these things catch my attention. I have to actually be looking at the words. Now, one question that is not on this list that I'm surprised isn't on the list is, do you read actual paper books or do you read a Kindle or something like that? I am a paper book person. I do not like, after spending all day looking at my computer screen, I really don't like looking at a Kindle or a Nookbook or whatever all those different things are called. I'm just not a fan of those. And I know you can get them without the glare. It's just still not the same thing to my eyes. I don't like it. So I'm a paper book person. Do you ever cover buy? No. I guess there's been a few times where a cover might have drawn my attention, but do I ever look at a cover and just love it so much that I have to have the book? No. I want to spend my money wisely, and I want to assume that I'm going to enjoy a book when I buy it. So it's definitely not just about the cover. There's a lot more that goes into a good book for me. I'm kind of picky that way. What's a good book with a bad cover? Okay, one of my favorite books of all time is Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. Here's what it looks like. I'm not a fan of that cover, but the book, I can't even tell you how many times I've read it. Probably at least 5, maybe 10. I've read it a lot, but I love that book. It just, well, it says a lot. And it's very timeless. I find that no matter how many years has gone by, when I read it, I feel like I'm learning new things, and it always applies to what's going on in the world today. I wonder what would happen if I read it right now. What's a bad book with a good cover? Well, I actually just finished one that I really liked the cover and I hated the book. Now, I did not buy this book because I liked the cover. I got this book in a book subscription. But here's what the book cover looked like. And I love this cover. I wanted to love the book just because of the cover, but it was In Cold Blood with Truman Capote. Just didn't care for it. Okay. First book you ever read? Well, I don't know how to answer that. I'm assuming without pictures, like first book. Whew, I don't know, because when I started kindergarten, I'm one of these people. I'm one of those people. I was already reading books. So I cannot really say. It's hard to remember back that far. I would have to say it was one of these Beverly Cleary books. It was probably one of my first no picture books. Last book you finished, it was this one. This is Diva Runs Out of Time by Krista Davis. This is a domestic diva series. They're mystery books. They're cozy mysteries. And I just love cozy mysteries. She is my favorite cozy mystery author. And this is the last book I finished. And just to let you know too, one thing that's really neat. So cozy mysteries are books that, just in case you don't know, the main character is usually into some kind of art or craft or some kind of hobby that kind of accentuates the coziness of it. So as an example, on the Hallmark Mystery Channel, there's that series with the lady that owns, I think it's the Cupcake Shop. That whole series is based off of cozy novels. And I also think the garage sale mysteries are based off of cozy novels. So they've got a couple of them on there that are based off of these. But these are my favorite ones. And the main character, she does like a bunch of catering and cooking and entertaining. And so in the back of each of these books, they have some recipes, which I think is really cool. But so that's my last book. What's the last series I finished? Well, actually, I think it was this series, but she since has come out with another book that I haven't read yet. So I think there's 13 books in this series, and I've only read 12 of them. But that was the last time I finished a series. Let's see. Last book you bought. Well, I actually bought about 8 books at one time the last time I bought a book. And that was my last book video. That was the used bookstore haul. And I'll go ahead and link that at the end of this video. What's your favorite genre? Whew, my favorite genre. I think my favorite genre would probably be mysteries or thrillers. Mystery thrillers? Yeah. What's your favorite book in that genre? It's really hard to say. My favorite book in that genre is really another series. The Alphabet Mysteries by Sue Grafton is probably my favorite books that are mystery books. I just love those ones. Those are high quality. My favorite one out of all of them, though, is probably the very first one she wrote, because that was the book where I fell in love with that character and that series and just her life and all of it. What genre do you never reach for? Sci-fi? I don't think I ever read sci-fi. Fantasy? Kind of. I think I've read a few fantasy books, but yeah, sci-fi is probably a genre I never reach for. Do you read poetry? No. Oh, no, not typically. Popular science? Nope. Middle grade? What does that mean? Middle grade? I guess I don't, or I would know what it was. Do you have book box subscriptions? Okay, I used to have Coffee and a Classic. I decided to stop getting that. If you want to know why, let me know. I'll tell you in a future video, but I feel like I could talk about it for about 10 minutes, why I stopped getting that subscription. But I just re-signed up for, I just signed back up for Book of the Month. A friend of mine named Janine, I'll put a link to her page down in the description box. She did a video about Book of the Month and what the different selections were for this month. And I just had to have one of the books that she read the description to. So I went ahead and re-signed up and it just arrived. So this is my May 2020 selection. So this is A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCrate. I haven't read it yet. It just showed up yesterday, but so yes, I am now a Book of the Month subscriber again. What is your favorite bookish item? I would love to tell you my favorite bookish item was an antique card catalog, but I don't have one yet. So my dream bookish item is an antique card catalog cabinet. I don't have my own home or my own library yet. So in the meantime, I guess my favorite bookish item would be this. It's just a little composition notebook, and it's got a little cat on it, and I put a little sticker on there. I love cats. And this is, I just started using this. I'm keeping track of the books that I'm reading and how many stars I give the books and how many pages there are and when I read them and that kind of stuff. I used to do this years ago. I loved doing it, and for some reason I stopped, but now I am back on it. Okay. What's your current bookmark? This is my current bookmark. I like a paperclip. This is my favorite. This is my favorite bookmark. What I do is when I put it on the page of the book, the short end of it, that's the page that I was on. And I really like it because then I can push more pages as I read under it. I can keep track of how many pages I've been reading. I don't know. It's kind of a silly thing, but this is my favorite. What's the strangest object you've used as a bookmark? Probably a paperclip. Book jackets or no? A book jacket? Is that the same thing as a dust jacket? I'm going to say no because I do not like having anything covering the books that I'm reading. I like to have them bare. Who's your fictional boyfriend? Well, the closest that I could think of that comes to my husband would be Noah Calhoun from The Notebook. One, I have when I look at my current situation, but also my past, I tend to have always been drawn to men in or previously in the military, which Noah Calhoun in the book did go fight overseas. But my husband is also, so he's a veteran like Noah Calhoun. He's also very hardworking. He has a lot of integrity and he's very loyal. And so to me, I guess Noah Calhoun would be my boyfriend. Favorite book couple. Okay, this is a weird one. If you have read the Alphabet Mysteries, the main character, Kinsey Milhone, she's got a couple different boyfriends that she has throughout the series. And my favorite one is Robert Dietz, and I love their relationship. They just have a fun, playful relationship. He's also a private eye, and so I think he understands her in ways that other men wouldn't. I think there's a lot of things that a man that just anybody who's not in that private eye world would not understand about being with somebody who is in that world, kind of thing. And so it's kind of nice because he's there for her. He'll come and spend months straight with her, and he always shows up when she kind of feels a little bit broken and needs somebody to lean on. If she calls him, he'll always show up. But he's not smothering, he doesn't stick around for a long time, and he's gone for 6 months to a year at a time. So but I love their relationship when they are together. But I like that he gives her space too, because with a character like Kinsey, she would never be happy with somebody who was around every day of her life. So that's probably my favorite couple in literature. So many of the couples in literature are either too fairy tale, where that would never happen that way. Nobody would ever talk to you that perfectly or that lovingly all the time, or always tell you what you want to hear, or they're too abusive, too controlling, or there's a lot of literary books where it's kind of like the movies where a guy just does not appreciate the woman he's with, or even maybe the woman doesn't appreciate the man, but one person doesn't appreciate the other one, and the other one's kind of pining after them over and over and over again. And the other person finally gets the nerve to say, it's over, I don't want to put up with your crap anymore. And then suddenly the jerk falls in love with this other person and can't live without them and does all these things to get them back. And I think that's not really reality. In real life, if somebody loves you, they love you. And if somebody's going to treat you right, they do from the beginning. They don't just suddenly one day wake up and decide to be nice to you. So I think that's why so many of the couples in books I don't really care for as much. But that one couple, they make sense to me. Favorite book villain. Okay, I thought a while about this one. There's probably two characters that I really love to hate, and they're both mothers. One is the character Corinne in Flowers in the Attic. She has got to be the world's worst mother, and she is very selfish. She does not give a rat's behind about her children at all. I mean, she's just a horrible mother, horrible person, just only out for herself. She is definitely one of my favorite villains. I mean, I hate her, right? And then the other one is more recent for me. I've got this book here. Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. Her mother, Mummy, as they call her in the books, I hate her. And she's another one, just very selfish, manipulative, horrible to her daughter. And so, yeah, that's the other villain that I hate. I don't want to say too much about her because I don't know if you've read this wonderful book yet. Such a good book. Favorite book adventure. Okay, I've got this book here too. The Orphan Train. Oh my gosh, this book is so good. But what, I know you might be thinking, what? That's your favorite adventure? It is, because it really highlights what home really is to people. And that at the end of the day, when you find home, it's when you find yourself. Such a good message. So beautifully written. I love this book. Let me hit myself in the face with it while we're talking about it. I love this book. I really recommend it. But yeah, this is my favorite adventure. Just going along with these children and what ends up happening to them and how their lives become. It's just beautiful. Okay. Series, trilogies, or standalones? Series. I really like series. And I'm not saying that standalones aren't good, but there's something about a good series that just gets under my skin a little bit. I remember the first series that really just got me going, and I just was very into and read and reread and just was kind of obsessed with, was the Flowers in the Attic series with that family. Because Flowers in the Attic, I know a lot of people don't know, but that was actually a whole series of books that went on, and it was so good. But to me, anything V.C. Andrews, but like actual V.C. Andrews before she died, is creme de la creme, amazing. When she passed away, they hired a ghostwriter that had a similar style to her, and they wrote a couple good books, but it really fell off after a few years. Anyway, just my opinion. Mixed media books or paragraphs? Paragraphs. What's your favorite book adaptation? I'm assuming that means a book that was made into a movie. Joylet Club. Actually, this movie I loved so much I read the book, and then now I've since read the book quite a few times. But I love the movie, love the book. Definitely my favorite. Okay. Film adaptations or TV adaptations? I would say film. I don't know that there's very many series that come from books that I like as much. I don't know why. It just is who I am. What book needs an adaptation? The Woman in Cabin 10. I think that needs to be made into a book or a movie. Or I mean, I think that needs to be made into a movie or a show. Although I found out that, because I looked it up, it actually is now being made into, I think, I don't know if it's a movie or a show, but it looks like PBS has it. So I'm assuming that'll be a show. Another one that I would love to see in a movie is Eleanor Oliphant, but I read that is actually being made into a movie. I think Reese Witherspoon bought the rights to that, so we'll see what happens with that one. Favorite book world? The Hunger Games, those books. That world is very fascinating to me. Or the Golden Compass books. That's another world that I found very fascinating. Favorite writing style? You know what? I think I'm a little bit different here. I'm going to go with descriptive. I really like it when there's a lot of description, telling me about the dew on the trees outside of the window while she's drinking her morning coffee and contemplating the day ahead of her. I want to know it all. What book that you love? Oh, what's a book that you love that people don't know about? There is a book called Follow Your Heart. I found it on a clearance rack at a Barnes & Noble in 98-ish. I mean, it was a while ago. And I love that book. And the book had been written in Italian and translated into English, but it was a bestseller in Italy, not in America, kind of thing. And what the book was about was a woman who's raising her granddaughter, or had raised, sorry, her granddaughter. She wrote this letter to her, a long letter about how she felt about her granddaughter and all the different lessons that she learned in her life, because she knows that she's going to die soon. So she's writing her this long love letter about just everything she wants her to know. And that's the book. And it's so beautifully written. So beautifully written. And there's a couple books during a really tough time in my life, which was around 1998 to 2000. It was a really hard time for me in life, and that book and about 4 other books really helped me get through it and helped me stay strong and go after the life that I wanted, because I was not living the life I wanted to live. So I really recommend that book. So good. Follow your heart. What's a popular book that you hated? Don't come for me, okay? I'm just being honest. Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. No, I did not like that book. The movie was fine. I didn't like the book, though. And I tried reading Sharp Objects. Didn't like that one either. I guess I'm just not a Gillian Flynn person. And that's okay. Favorite childhood reads. Okay, so I already mentioned the Ramona Cleary series, or the Beverly Cleary series about Ramona Quimby. I also read The Babysitter's Club, and a big one for me growing up, Sweet Valley High. What was it? Sweet Valley Junior High, and then Sweet Valley High, and then when they went off to college, I was into those books. Let me tell you what, I don't even know how many times I read them. I loved them so much. Read them over and over and over again. Sweet Valley High. Those Wakefield twins were everything to me. What's a book that changed your life? Okay, so follow your heart, which I just mentioned, and Paint It Black by Janet Fitch. She's Come Undone by Wally Lamb. Those are 3 of the ones I was mentioning that really helped me get through a really tough time. So I definitely have to say those are the ones that changed my life. What book did you hate at school? Interesting little bit of trivia about me. I never showed up to school. Nope. I did a lot of reading at home, but I barely graduated from high school. I never went to school. I hated school. Hated it. College was great. I got good grades in college, and I read a lot of books that were assigned there. But in high school, I did not read any of the assigned reading. I just didn't like high school. I know. That's a whole other video, though, about why and what happened. But do you buy to collect? Yes, I do, actually. The Alphabet Murders, I have each book in its original format with the, like the what is that called? Oh my gosh. So each book, and whatever year it came out, the original cover that it had, the original book that came out, that's the one that I have in each of them. And I really love my collection of those books. I've got other books that I've collected over the years, and I really want to have a library one day. Do you donate books? I do. I do not typically donate them to used bookstores, though. I'm more of I like giving them to the Salvation Army or the Battered Women's Shelter. I like donating them to places like that where I feel like people that really could just use a good book and maybe can't afford to buy one can get them. And then with the used bookstores, I tend to like to support them by spending the full amount that they charge for the books. I know that probably sounds kind of weird, but so no, I don't turn them in and exchange them. I donate, and then I just buy from bookstores or barnesandnoble.com. What's your favorite reading snack? I don't know. I don't feel like I typically eat when I read. I mean, not that I haven't ate over dinner or something, but usually I'm just drinking coffee or tea or water. What's your favorite reading position? I prefer to read while sitting. I do read laying down in bed every night, but I prefer sitting in my rocking chair and reading. And I will sit on the couch too, but definitely sitting. Natural light or lamplight? I prefer natural light. So for me, the ideal situation is sitting in the rocking chair next to the window. Then I have natural light with a coffee that I'm drinking and some candles lit. That's my ideal book reading environment or atmosphere. Outside or inside? I'm fine with either one. I kind of prefer reading outside though. Breaking the cover or keeping it smooth? I like to break them. Yep, I do. I like to fold them over like this and break them. It just is who I am. I'm not going to lie to you. Do you read books in other languages? Nope. I only speak English. I don't know any, or read English. I don't know any other languages. So I definitely don't read in any other languages. What book series do you want to finish this year? The Domestic Diva Mystery Cozy Book series. I would really like to finish this. There's a new one that just came out and it's in hardback. I think it came out, actually, I'm not sure when, but it came out recently. I want to get that one and finish that series. But the other one, I want to get the new Hunger Games book. What book releases are you most excited about right now? Well, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Do you have a favorite book influencer? No, not influencer. I mean, I definitely have a few people that talk about books that I like, but I wouldn't call them influencers. To me, that's somebody with a really big page. I am not a big page person. Do you have a channel, blog, or social media feed? Well, yes, I've got the YouTube page that you're watching right now. So that's my channel. And I don't have a blog, but I do have a social media feed. Let's see. Well, I've got a Goodreads page, and I've got an Instagram page and a Twitter page. So I guess those count. Somewhere in here it says, what's your favorite book of all time? And my favorite book of all time is To Kill a Mockingbird. I love this book. I got it from my brother on my 13th birthday, and I read it. I'm not going to say I've read it every year, but usually I read it every year in the fall. I don't know why. He got it for me for my birthday, which is in May, but every time I've reread it, it seems to be in the fall. I just love this book. I always walk away with a new message to hold dear to my heart, and I love some of the relationships in this book, and I love the change that some of the characters are trying to make in the world. So it's definitely a really good book. And then this other book I had sitting here, I must have forgot to mention it at some point, as far as a book that has changed my life. I read this book in college. This is The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. This book, it has just, well, one, I like to do, and I like to do genealogy, and it's helped me understand my ancestors and what they may have gone through. But the bigger thing is, this book has really made me appreciate my life and the luxuries that I have. And it's also made me realize how, this book also made me realize the innate ability that we all have in us to survive. So this might be a good book to reread now because we're all trying to get through something pretty serious. So, but yeah, if you haven't read this book, it's really good. If you want to feel spoiled, read this book. I just thought it would be fun to celebrate having 500 subscribers by doing just something fun and lighthearted and something that is my favorite subject, which is books. So I hope that you have a great rest of your day. And thank you so much for watching. I love you. Bye.